Imagine this. You have lived in the US, the UK, or Canada your whole life. You speak fluent English, understand Western culture inside out, and blend in easily. Then, one day, you meet an Indian who just migrated from a small village in Punjab or Gujarat. They struggle with the language, dress differently, and don't fully grasp Western societal norms. Instead of helping them, you feel uncomfortable, maybe even embarrassed. But the question is, why does this happen? Shouldn't those who are already settled offer guidance or support? Well, let's talk about this issue today. Indians who are born or raised in the West often grows up in a very confusing space. At home, their parents enforce Indian traditions, but outside they are surrounded by Western culture. They spend years trying to fit in, to not be seen as too Indian or too different. Now, when a new migrant arrives, somebody who still carries the habit, language, and mannerism of India, it reminds settled Indians of a very identity that they try to distance themselves from. It exposes the cultural gap that they work so hard to erase. Instead of embracing these newcomers, they sometimes reject them, fearing that they might be seen as the same. First of all, let me tell you, one of the biggest reasons for this embarrassment is language. Many Indians who migrate from village struggle with English or speak it in a very heavy accent. In the meantime, Indians raised in the West often take pride in their fluent, native-like English. Studies have shown that people with strong accent are often judged unfairly in society and professional setting as well. According to a Harvard Business Review study, non-native English speakers are 16% less likely to be hired for leadership position simply because of their accent. In the social circle, this bias can be even stronger. Many second or third generation Indians hesitate to associate with new migrants because they fear being judged by the Western peers. Then comes cultural differences. Settled Indians in the West have adapted to Western etiquettes, waiting in line, speaking softly in public, maintaining personal space, and dressing a certain way. But newly arrived Indians often bring habits from back home, like speaking loudly in public, bargaining in stores, or gathering in large groups at the parks. These behaviors can make settled Indians very uncomfortable, specifically if they are trying to blend in. Let me give you an example now. It is an experience of an Indian student in Canada. Many second-generation Indians complain that new studies show that students from Punjab, Haryana, Gujarat, or any other state in India tend to stick together, speak only their regional languages, and create a separate societal bubble. Instead of integrating, they form mini Indias abroad, which can make settled Indians feel disconnected or even embarrassed. And here the harsh reality is, this attitude needs to be changed. The irony is that settled Indians were once in the same spot as these new migrants. Their parents or grandparents arrived with heavy accent, cultural differences, and limited sources. Yet, they built successful lives. Instead of feeling embarrassed by new migrants, settled Indians should remember that they are part of the same journey. According to a Pew Research Center, 77% of Indian migrants in the US have at least a bachelor's degree as compared to national average of 33%. Now, this success story exists because each generation built upon the struggle of the previous one. If the older wave of Indian migrants help the newer wave, the community as a whole will grow very strong together. Let me give you some solution now. Rather than distancing themselves from the new migrants, settled Indians in the West should firstly mentor them. Help them with job application, networking, and social skills. Secondly, encourage integration. Teach them about Western customs rather than mocking their differences. Thirdly, celebrate their identity. Being Indian should be a source of pride and not embarrassment. New migrants also need to make an effort to adapt these respecting roots. Learning the local language, understanding social etiquettes, and blending into the workplace can help bridge the gap. So, in conclusion, every generation of immigrants have faced discrimination. from British colonizers calling Indians uncivilized to Americans stereotyping all Indians as tech workers or taxi drivers. If settled Indians in the West now look down on new migrants, aren't they repeating the same cycle? Instead of embarrassment, there should be unity. Because at the end of the day, no matter how much time has passed, all Indians, I repeat, all Indians, whether new or settled, share the same roots.